America's payment systems are finally being upgraded to this new ISO 20022 standard this weekend. What does that mean for the US payment system? What does it mean for crypto in general? Is crypto being used already by other countries that have already made the step into ISO? Also, what is Ripple and XRP's role in all of ISO? I'm going to answer all of that in this video. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. I'm Crypto Sensei. Thanks for being here. Let's jump in. The federal government is releasing this information to better prepare the public and financial institutions for this migration. It says prepare to go live with ISO 20022 on the FedWire Fund service on July 14th with these testing and training resources. So they're giving this stuff out to the public. Hey, make sure that you understand what's going on here. And that's what we're doing in this video. So why is ISO such a big move for America's payment system? ISO 20022 is an international standard, messaging standard for financial transactions designed to replace a patchwork of older, inconsistent formats. It enables all banks and payment systems to speak the same language, making cross-border transactions much smoother and less error-prone. There's richer, structured data. The new standard allows payment messages to carry much more detailed and structured information, such as invoice numbers, payment purpose, and full sender and receiver details. This improves transparency. It speeds up compliance checks and anti-money laundering, and reduces manual intervention and errors made by people like you and I. Faster and more reliable payments. With more data and harmonized messaging, payments can be processed faster with fewer delays. Problems like payments being stopped for unclear reasons, maybe a country of origin or an address or a name that was flagged, are reduced because the data is clearer and more structured. Operational efficiency, banks and businesses benefit from easier reconciliation, fewer errors, and less need for manual repairs. The upgrade supports automation and new financial technologies, paving the way for innovations like real-time payments and digital assets. That is the key word right there. So what are we looking at globally here? As a global interoperability, as 70 countries have already adopted ISO 20022, the US is joining in means American banks and businesses can interact more seamlessly with international partners. This is crucial for cross-border payments or trade and finance, reducing friction and costs. Also, I wanted to look up all of the ISO, approved tokens, and these are on the screen here: XRP, XLM, XEC, Algo, IOTA, HBAR, Quant, and ADA. If you've come to my live streams or you've watched this channel, we've talked about almost all of this technology. I did want to see what Ripple's role has been in the development of ISO, just to give you that extra context. And so, membership and participation. First DLT member, Ripple became the first distributed ledger technology company to join the ISO 20022 standard. So yes, Ripple was there at the beginning when all of this stuff was being written and wrote. They had their say. They had the ability to lend some of the brightest and best people from Ripple to go to this board and make sure that the development of this is going to impact and greater help the digital asset space, which is responsible for developing and maintaining the ISO standard and financial messaging. Active standards and body participant. Ripple is part of the ISO 20022 registration management group, also known as the RMG, giving it direct voice on shaping the future direction of cross-border payment standards. So you got to love with a company that we love, right? XRP Army loves. Ripple has been there from the get-go, helping set the stage for all of this. It's just so cool, man. Strategic contributions, promoting blockchain integrations. Ripple's involvement has helped introduce blockchain-based solutions to the ISO 20022 framework, positioning blockchain as a viable new payment rail alongside traditional systems like SWIFT. RippleNet alignment. Ripple's global payment network was among the first DLT-based networks to align with ISO 20022, ensuring interoperability with traditional finance institutions and systems. Remember, this was years ago. Ripple has been playing the long game. We don't even realize, most people don't even realize Ripple has been in this, over a decade, playing the long game on these systems and these upgrades, because they knew eventually you are going to need us. You are going to need the technology and the digital asset that we built our whole infrastructure around, right? And they were right. They were right. The whole world is upgrading to the thing that Ripple's been working on from the get-go. You got to love that. It does talk about driving interoperability by supporting ISO 20022. Ripple enables seamless data exchange and messaging between banks, payment processors, crypto assets, reducing friction in cross-border payments. The technical impact here is enhanced data standards. Ripple's adoption of ISO 20022 allows for richer, more structured data payments. We know that. Enabling new payment rails. ISO 20022 standard acts as a catalyst or an enabler for new payment platforms like Ripple, allowing them to operate within and alongside existing financial infrastructure. So you have Ripple here being basically having the infrastructure for the new system. They can go into any bank using the old and outdated SWIFT system and interconnect them to have this newer infrastructure. Remember when we were building out how long it would take a bank to upgrade their own infrastructure? It could take 2 to 4 years. Using Ripple, they could do this in just a few months. All right. There's more information here that Smoke was putting out too. He has some information here highlighted here. It says the Federal Reserve is expected to migrate in March. Obviously, that got pushed back to July. Internationally accepted financial messaging exchange standard. The exception is that this transition will boost the adoption of the real-time payment service FedNow, which enables instant payments 24/7, 365 for financial institutions, companies, and individuals. And expect as Ripple becomes a bank, when they actually get that banking license approved, they will be a part of the FedNow system. In FedNow, it won't be like Ripple is connected to FedNow through a partnership or an exchange or something like that. They will have a direct connection. And here's the growing network. The FedNow service network is over 1,200 live participants and 37 certified service providers, with participants headquartered in all 50 states and Washington, D.C. The financial institutions on the network range from 500 million to 3 trillion in assets. There's also some updates here. Federal Reserve changes to wire transfers. So this is going to be affected. Wire freeze, no wire actively allowed. So they're getting rid of some of this old technology. I would expect checks to go next, as well as, eventually they're going to get rid of cash. But this is probably, 20 years from now, because people will start to panic as they reduce, as digital cash becomes more available, as stablecoins becomes more available, you will have less cash in circulation because it'll be of the digital form. And then of course, there's so many articles here. Fed's ISO Big Bang hits next week. The Federal Reserve shift to trillions of dollars in payments to the new ISO 20022 standard. Fed wire is $4.3 trillion a day. I also wanted to give you some information here because I talk to people a lot about this in my live streams on Tuesdays and Fridays on YouTube. And, people are saying, hey, is there anything that we can take a look at, any data that would allow us to know if crypto is going to be used in a massive way, like on Monday? And so there are other countries, 70 other countries that have already upgraded to real-time gross settlement, and they are using the ISO standard. So let's get a little data on that. Global adoption, daily payment volume. So I wanted to know how many payments are being sent using this new ISO standard already globally. As of mid-2025, the adoption of ISO 20022 is accelerating worldwide as the financial industry approaches key migration deadlines. In May 2025, the average number of ISO 20022 payment instructions sent via SWIFT's FinPlus service reached approximately 1.8 million, a 79% increase from the previous year and nearly triple the volume of early 2023. So as you can see, this has been already going since 2023, and the volume has been doubling and tripling year over year. The volume reflects just cross-border payments instructions on SWIFT. Domestic payment systems in many countries, such as the EU's Target 2s, Canada's Lynx, and the Chinese CNAPS 2, also use ISO 20022. And I've showed you a bunch of connections into Target's payment system and Ripple. There's so many connections we can talk about. I just don't want to make this video like 20 minutes long. Adoption rates are rising. As of May 2025, about 41% of cross-border payment instructions were using ISO, with projections to reach 57% by mid-year and 86% by the November 2025 deadline. So, I wanted to know, is crypto being used or stablecoins being used in this? ISO 00222 compliant crypto projects, several cryptocurrencies and blockchain projects are working to align with ISO standards. Notably, XRP is named first, Stellar is named second, XDC, Algorand, Quant, Cardano, etc., etc. Compliance meaning for crypto, ISO 20022 compliance generally means that the project's messaging infrastructure can interoperate with traditional systems using the ISO 20022 format. This does not mean that crypto or stablecoins are used directly in ISO payments, but rather their networks can communicate with banks and payment systems. So right now, there's millions of payments being sent every single day without crypto. They actually don't track the crypto part. I do think as regulation becomes more of a normal thing, as banks start to trust these digital assets to move value instantaneously for a very low cost. The savings is going to be passed along not only to the banks, but also to you and I. And this is going to greatly impact the financial system, leveling the playing field and making it easier for people to send money instantaneously all around the world. Listen, I don't think this is going to have an impact on Monday. In fact, it could be some type of sell the news event. I will have to see, guys. I never get married to dates in the crypto space. I've been let down so many times in the past, and I'm sure you understand that as well if you have been here a long time as well. What I want you to understand here is this, that the US is committed to using crypto now. Banks are just coming around and getting used to it. They're upgrading their infrastructure to use new standards like the ISO 20022, and crypto will start being used more and more. I do think you need that stablecoin regulation. I do think you need crypto regulation in the United States before Bank of America and JP Morgan jump in, head first. But I do think these banks are gearing up. They're ready to go. And once one bank really starts to use this and starts to show all of the benefits, the money savings, the how quickly everything's sped up, where they can move money around instantaneously into different markets to trade during those days, I mean, it's really going to supercharge the financial system. And we holding these tokens here that are mentioned, this is part of the new financial system. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do you want to be a part of the new financial system? Do you want to own a piece of the new financial system? That is what I think this is. When I buy XRP or Stellar or XDC or HBAR or Cardano or Quant, I am telling myself that I want to participate in this new world order, and I'm trying to buy as much of it as quickly as I can. I hope this was a good update for you guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you for all your support. I love you so much. You guys have a fantastic week ahead. Take care of yourself. I'm Crypto Sensei. Peace. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.